Like, for a young dude making your Eurobasket debut out there, what was it like, man?
I mean, it was insane to play in front of home fans, 12,000 people. That was insane. I've never experienced something like that.
And like for you, like, 'cause you know, such a young dude, like coming out there, that fourth quarter, you made some huge plays. Did the pressure ever get to you at any point?
No, it didn't. Honestly, it didn't.
Does it help that you have that sort of that youthful confidence? You don't have to worry about it.
I'm confident all the time. I don't feel pressure like that.
And like obviously, when you've got like players like Sasu, like Lowry around you, does that help you grow as a player?
It definitely does. It definitely does. I get advice from them daily that I can use in the future.
And are you hoping you can grow more into this team, more minutes as the group goes on?
I hope so.
And like lastly, like, you know, looking ahead to Friday, like what are your hopes?
Let's play a good basketball game.
Anthony Edwards thinks he's the future face of the NBA, the next Michael Jordan, the guy who's gonna save basketball. He talks the loudest, dunks the hardest, and celebrates like he's already won 3 rings.
Yeah, I hit my head, I think on the rim. It's hurting real bad, and I landed on my wrist, but I mean, you know, I saw him with the lane. I knew he was going for the layup, and I was just like, man, I'm finna go get this. I ain't never jumped that high in my life.
But there's a problem. An 18-year-old kid from Finland just exposed everything wrong with Ant's game. His name? Mika Slim Jesus Murinen. At 6 feet 11 inches with a 7 feet 3 inches wingspan, this teenager just sent shockwaves through the basketball world by dismantling Nikola Jokic's Serbia at Eurobasket 2025. And scouts are whispering something terrifying. This kid will make Anthony Edwards obsolete.
Yeah. Got an extra look at the timeout in the fourth, and Coach Kenanitis wanted to make sure that he didn't want to see too much of this.
Here's that steal by...
The old era of loud, isolation-heavy guards is dying, and Slim Jesus, the silent assassin who plays man-ball, is holding the knife. This isn't a rivalry. This is an execution. Let's set the tone. Anthony Edwards is everything the NBA has been selling you. Loud, emotional, cocky. He talks trash, pounds his chest, and plays hero ball when the lights are brightest.
Oh, it's on, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yeah, baby.
Edwards averaged 27.6 points last season. He's a 3-time All-Star, Team USA gold medalist, the Timberwolves franchise player. On paper, he's unstoppable. But here's the assumption everyone's making. That style works in the modern game. That isolation scoring, emotional outbursts, and volume shooting are the path to championships. Now meet Slim Jesus, the complete opposite. No trash talk, no chest pounding, no theatrics, just dominance. At 18 years old, the youngest player at Eurobasket 2025, Murinen helped lead Finland to the semifinals for the first time in history. He averaged 6.6 points and 1.9 rebounds in just 11 minutes per game. But those numbers don't tell the story. When Finland needed a spark in the fourth quarter against Sweden, coach Lassi Tuovi called Slim's number. When they faced Nikola Jokic's Serbia in the round of 16, Murinen delivered 9 points in 12 minutes, and they pulled off a historic upset. Finland's Sasu Salin said, him and Lowry have a little bit of the same mindset, but Lowry kept it quiet. He just did a job. Mika, not so much, but he carries himself in a way that's good.
What about Mika? I mean, once again, another amazing dunk, back-to-back threes over Nikola Jokic. Big balls.
Big balls. Yeah, you know, this kid, yeah. I think there are words like what I cannot say now about him, but yeah, he's great, and he's gonna do great things in the future too.
This is the new era: silent killers, team players, international systems that punish isolation heroes. And Anthony Edwards? He's on the wrong side of history. Here's where it gets spicy. Slim Jesus hasn't just succeeded, he's destroyed players exactly like Anthony Edwards. Let's talk about explosive athletic guards who rely on speed and power, guys who attack the rim with reckless abandon, guys who think their athleticism alone will carry them. These types of players are unstoppable when they're younger and more athletic. Wrong. Slim Jesus makes them look foolish.
Mika Murinen has made a name for himself in this tournament. How would you compare the 18-year-old Lauri Markkanen to Murinen today?
We get that comparison a lot. I feel like, he's really athletic. I don't think I was jumping that high, and I probably had the same energy as he has in practice. But He's really talented, can do so many things, and he helps our team so much already with his length and athleticism and competitiveness that he has, and he's got a bright future ahead of him. He was probably more athletic than I was at 18, and I think I could, maybe at that point, I could shoot it a little bit more, so we're a little bit different, but there are similarities, obviously. But I'm really excited for him and his future and what he can bring to our team in the future as well.
Standing at 6 feet 11 inches with elite mobility and a 7 feet 3 inches wingspan, Marinin is the nightmare matchup for guards like Ant. He moves laterally like a wing but protects the rim like a center. He contests shots from 30 feet out and then swats layups at the basket. Finland's coach Lassi Tuovi said, "He plays, he makes highlights. He makes some mistakes, but he competes in every situation." Edwards relies on his 6'4" frame and explosive first step to get to the rim. But what happens when there's a 6'11" freak athlete waiting for him? What happens when his go-to move gets erased by a longer, smarter defender? We've seen it before. Guards who dominate in AAU and college because they're more athletic than everyone else. Then they hit the international stage or face elite length, and suddenly they can't score. Ant's game is built for the NBA's isolation-heavy style. But in international play, against disciplined team defense and elite length, he'd get cooked. And Slim Jesus is the one holding the spatula. The NBA is evolving. Teams are prioritizing ball movement, defensive versatility, and players who can do multiple things. The days of one-dimensional scorers dominating are over. Anthony Edwards' scoring ability makes him more valuable than a role player like Marinin. Let's test that assumption. Edwards led the NBA in three-pointers made last season, shooting 36% on 8 attempts per game. Impressive. But he also averaged 4.5 assists, barely better than a traditional shooting guard. He's a scorer first, playmaker second.
His probably has nothing to do with the skill of basketball. Huh? His problem is nothing with the skill set of basketball. He can work all the shit he want to work on this summer.
Now look at Slim Jesus. He doesn't need 20 shots per game to impact winning. He's a connector, a glue guy, someone who makes everyone better just by being on the floor. At Eurobasket, Marinin wasn't hunting stats. He was setting screens, rotating on defense, crashing the glass, and taking smart shots. That's the international system. That's team basketball. And here's the kicker. NBA teams are starting to value that more than empty scoring. Teams are realizing that guys like Anthony Edwards, who dominate the ball and take tough shots, don't win championships without elite talent around them. But guys like Slim Jesus, they elevate average rosters into contenders. Edwards needs the ball in his hands to be effective. Marinin makes plays without it. That's the difference between a good player and a winning player. Here's where Anthony Edwards gets exposed. Ant averaged 27.6 points last season on 19.6 field goal attempts per game. That's volume scoring. He needs the rock in his hands. He needs possessions designed for him. He needs to be the guy. High-volume scorers are more valuable because they carry the offensive load. But what if that's a lie? Marinin averaged just 6.6 points at Eurobasket. But in those 11 minutes per game, he was everywhere. Contesting shots, grabbing rebounds, setting screens that freed up Lauri Markkanen, making the right pass every single time. Finland went to the semifinals, the best finish in their history, and it wasn't because of one guy taking 20 shots, it was because everyone knew their role. Compare that to Edwards and the Timberwolves. They reached the Western Conference Finals last year, then got destroyed by Oklahoma City in 5 games. Edwards shot 7 for 18 and 1 for 7 from 3 in the elimination game. When his shot isn't falling, the entire offense falls apart. When he forces bad shots in crunch time, the Wolves lose. That's not a superstar. That's a volume scorer. Slim Jesus doesn't have that weakness. He doesn't need volume to dominate. He controls games with his presence, his length, and his basketball IQ, and coaches love that. Let's get into the brutal truth. Anthony Edwards has glaring weaknesses that Slim Jesus would exploit. 1. Defense. Edwards talks about wanting to be all defensive, but he averaged just 1.1 steals last season. He gambles for highlights. He loses focus off the ball, and when teams run him through screens, he gets lost. Now, imagine him trying to guard Slim Jesus, a 6'11" forward who can shoot, drive, and make plays above the rim. Edwards can't switch onto bigs. He gets bullied in the post. And Murinen has the skills to take him off the dribble or shoot over him. It's a mismatch, and Edwards knows it. 2. Shot selection. Edwards loves the big moment, the hero shot, the tough fadeaway with 20 seconds left on the shot clock. It's exciting for highlights, but terrible for winning. Assumption. Taking tough shots shows confidence and killer instinct. Wrong. It shows poor decision-making. Murinen, by contrast, takes SMART shots. Open threes off ball movement, lobs at the rim, easy finishes in transition. He doesn't force. He doesn't need to prove anything. That's maturity. That's discipline. And that's what wins championships. 3. Emotional control. Edwards wears his emotions on his sleeve. When things go wrong, he pouts. He argues with refs. He throws his hands up at teammates. Murinen, stone cold. Even when he makes a mistake, he moves on to the next play. One NBA analyst said, "Emotional players are fun to watch, but they're liabilities in close playoff games. You need guys who stay composed under pressure." Guess which player fits that description? Here's what the media won't tell you. NBA scouts and executives are obsessed with Micah Murinen. He's projected as a first-round pick in the 2027 NBA draft, and he just signed a 3-year deal with Partizan Belgrade in the EuroLeague. Why? Because he checks every box: elite size and wingspan, high basketball IQ, defensive versatility, winning mentality, minus no ego. Compare that to Edwards. Yes, he's talented. Yes, he's popular. But he also has attitude concerns, shot selection issues, questions about his playoff performances. One anonymous GM reportedly said, "Give me a 6'11" kid who plays the right way over a 6'4" scorer who needs the ball every time." And here's the assumption teams are making. Anthony Edwards will evolve. He'll become a better playmaker. He'll improve his shot selection. He'll mature. But what if he doesn't? What if this is who he is? A high-usage scorer who can't lead a team to a title without an elite supporting cast. Meanwhile, Slim Jesus is already the perfect complementary piece, and at 18, he's only going to get better. Here's the most savage part. Slim Jesus doesn't need to trash talk. He doesn't need to celebrate. He doesn't need to tell you he's coming. He just destroys you, quietly, efficiently, relentlessly. At Eurobasket, after Finland upset Serbia and eliminated Jokic, Murinen didn't gloat. He didn't scream. He just walked off the court like it was business as usual. That's terrifying. Anthony Edwards would have been doing backflips. He would have been talking trash to the camera. He would have made it about him. But Slim Jesus? He made it about winning. And that's the difference between a player and a champion. Let's address the elephant in the room. Anthony Edwards grew up in the AAU system, isolation basketball, hero ball, one-on-one matchups designed to showcase individual talent. Assumption: AAU basketball develops elite NBA players. Partially true. But it also creates bad habits: over-dribbling, poor spacing, selfishness. And Edwards has all of those tendencies. Murinen, by contrast, grew up in Europe. He learned to play within a system. He learned to cut without the ball. He learned to set screens and make the extra pass. That's man ball. That's how basketball is supposed to be played. And when Edwards faces elite international competition, like Team USA did at the Olympics, he looks human. He averaged just 12.8 points per game in Paris. Good, but not dominant. Now, imagine him facing a defensive scheme built around stopping isolation players. Imagine him trying to score against length, discipline, and help defense. He'd struggle. And Slim Jesus would be the one leading that defensive scheme. Here's the scariest part for Anthony Edwards. NBA scouts aren't just watching Micah Murinen, they're studying him. And they're asking one critical question: can this kid be the prototype for the next generation of NBA stars? Because here's the reality. The NBA is trending away from undersized scoring guards. Teams want size, length, versatility. Murinen is 6 feet 11 inches and can guard 1 to 5. Edwards is 6 feet 4 inches and gets hunted on defense in the playoffs. Murinen can play off the ball. Edwards needs it in his hands. Murinen wins with efficiency. Edwards needs volume. One scout reportedly said, "If I'm building a championship team, I'd rather have the 6 foot 11-inch Swiss Army knife than the 6 foot 4-inch guy who needs 20 shots to get going." That's not a hot take. That's the future. And Anthony Edwards? He's fighting for relevance in a league that's passing him by. Anthony Edwards talks like he's the next face of the NBA, but the truth is brutal. His game has a shelf life. His weaknesses are being exposed. And a new generation, led by players like Slim Jesus, is coming to take everything. Mika Murinen doesn't need to talk. He doesn't need validation. He just wins. And when he enters the NBA in 2027, he's going to make players like Anthony Edwards look obsolete. This isn't hate. This is evolution. The game is changing. The loud, emotional, isolation-heavy era is dying. And the silent, disciplined, team-first era is rising. Edwards can either adapt or get left behind. Right now, Slim Jesus is showing him exactly what the future looks like. And it's not pretty for Ant-Man. The throne Anthony Edwards thought he was building, Slim Jesus just knocked it over without saying a word. Welcome to the new era. Slim Jesus is here, and Anthony Edwards' crown is crumbling.